Hello there, and welcome to What Would That Mumsy Do? So I'm officially 24 weeks and a day, and I feel definitely more emotional than ever. I want to get a little personal with you guys. So I am the baby of 5 girls. I have a baby on the way, and I have a 5-year-old. But my other children are my dad and my grandma, who require a ton. They are diabetic, and they just require a lot, to say the least. Okay. And my dad is always like, I love my dad. I love the heart he has. I love that he, wants to act like we are an orphanage that can take everybody in. But the reality is, my dad, I take care of my dad. Like, I don't know what else to say other than, like, my dad wants to take everybody in, but he doesn't, like, understand the concept of, wait a minute, that's another person that I am going to be responsible for. And, so a family member contacted my dad yesterday. Actually, he didn't even contact my dad. Someone contacted my dad for him because he's, I guess, incapable. So with someone that is incapable of making a phone call, that should be your set reality of, wait a minute, they're going to require a lot too. If they can't even make a phone call, they require a lot, okay? And if I wasn't pregnant, if I didn't have another child on the way, maybe my perception of this would be a little bit different, and maybe I'd be a little bit more open to allowing another person to just, to jump on the bandwagon of orphanage fucking Torres. But I had to physically say, no, there's no way. There's no freaking way that I could have another person, another body that requires a ton, knowing that I have a new baby on the way. Like, I just felt like when my dad was having this conversation and he's like on the phone with them and they're like, yeah, he's like, familia is familia, blah, 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 blah. All I could think of was like, where was this familia our whole life? Like, my dad has a ton of brothers, a ton of them. The only ones that have been consistently in my life are like two of them out of like the 11 kids that are there. So it's like, when I'm a firm believer in saying that just because people are like your blood does not make them family. That's not like the defining factor to where you're like, you know what? No boundaries are needed because they're my blood. No. Like, if you know that someone's like, addicted to meth and heroin, you're not going to be like, you know what? They're family. Let me have them share a room with my 5-year-old. Like, fuck no. Like, I don't know why like that concept is not understandable to people. But I just feel like you need to set boundaries with your family. Like, the number one people that need boundaries are your family, because people that are blood related to you assume that they have like this free pass, and that, just because they've not done anything your entire life, and now that they need something in their adulthood, that they can just like miraculously be like, you know what, we're family now. Like, I can't even fathom that. Like, I just remember like literally growing up, my dad would be like, oh, anytime if I would like dare say that one of my cousins were super close to me and I love them so much, like, and they're my family, my dad would say, no, that they're not your family. Like, they're your relative. Like, they're your relative. Like, family is your immediate family, and that's it. So when my dad has, put this in my brain my entire life, and for him to be the one to be like, oh, now we're going to take on this new person. We're going to have him live with us too. I'm like, holy fuckery. Like, wait a minute. What type of insulin are you on that you think that you forgot everything that you've ever taught us our entire lives, and you're willing to alter our life for someone that does not deserve to be in it? And I'm all about helping people, okay? I'm all about helping people, but don't help people unless before you help for yourself. Like, if you cannot help yourself and you can't even do your own laundry and your own dishes and cook for yourself, how dare you take on another fucking human being? Like, how are you going to be like, oh, you know what? family is family. Let's have them move in too. Like, I don't know if it's just pregnant Tracy or what, but I have a big fucking heart, but I would rather help this person find their own place versus taking them on and being responsible for another person that is incapable of being responsible for themselves. Like, I don't know if this sounds like so horrible, but ultimately, you know what? I'd rather take on the card of being the horrible person that had common sense in this than just being like, oh, you know, let's just let it happen, and then being like, oh my gosh, my life is horrible. Why didn't I not say anything? Like, why did I not have the balls to stand up to my father? Like, no. I feel that if I am a caregiver for someone and for multiple people, then it definitely needs to be discussed with me whether or not I feel comfortable with this person who's incapable of a lot of things to come and be around my child. Like, be around my child and my newborn child. Like, there's no way. Like, I am so protective over my babies. And when it comes to my babies, I feel like my mother bearness is like on level infinite, because I could literally cut out anybody, any fucking buddy, anybody that does not understand boundaries. I can keep distance. I can do those things. Like, if it comes to my babies, like, when I think about them, I just think like, no, like I have to be able to create boundaries with whoever is necessary, whether it's my own mother or my own father, like whoever it is. If the boundary is necessary, then I need to make sure that I'm voicing my opinion, that I'm saying these things, because if not, then I'm gonna have the biggest regrets of what I could have done differently and what I could have said. And I feel like the main point here is like, if you feel something in your heart and you just know like that it will not work out, like there's no possible way, then don't be intimidated and feel like you cannot speak, because I literally cried for, I feel like 4 hours before I spoke yesterday, and I thought, what the hell? This is my house. Like, how am I gonna not speak up about my own freaking house? Like, oh my Lord. And then I thought, like, I'm so disappointed in myself. I tell my son to speak up all the time, and I can't even speak up right now. Like, no. You better sit down, get your thoughts right, make sure that you have point A, B, and C that are actually like rational reasons and that are like credible reasons, versus being like, ah! Because initially I seriously was just crying. Like, I was just crying. Like, I couldn't even wrap my head around like all the specific reasons of why it wouldn't work. And then I started jotting it, like literally jotting it down. I said jotting, oh my gosh. I started writing that thing down, and when I jotted it down, I saw a lot of negatives that outweighed the positives, basically. Okay? And so after I, had my life revelation, I just thought, like, no, like, I'm supposed to speak. So I feel like my best advice is, when you have something that is on the tip of your tongue and you feel like you don't know how to say it and you don't know how to communicate it, especially to your family, just write a list down. Start there. Get your thoughts, like, in a rational way, so that you can communicate them in a way that is understandable. Because when we're initially so mad, angry, and hurt and all these other feelings, like, we forget how to properly communicate what we are feeling, because all of our emotions are taking over. And let me tell you, my emotions done took over yesterday, and now I'm here, and now I want to communicate about it, so now I'm talking about it. And I just, like, I feel like with everything inside of my body, all I want to do is just be able to say, create boundaries. That's it. Thank you so much for all listening to my freaking rant. Have a happy Monday and an amazing week. This is What Would That Mumsy Do? This is your host, Tracy. Have a wonderful day, you guys.